around with the community posts, because the minute that I tried to do the community post thing. All right, yeah, we're back. So I'm gonna just leave it the way it is. I'm gonna wait for a couple people to come in, and after that, we are gonna go right into talking about it, because for some freaking reason, I had tried to share the community post, and the minute that I did that, my live stream just cut off, and it's like YouTube can't decide whether it wants to do the live stream or if it wants to do the community post. So here we are. We are back. I'm gonna have to just wait it out, and then I'm gonna take the old posting and make sure that is. It says I'm live on the other one too. Holy shit. Oh my god, that's not good. I got 2 live streams going on. No. That is weird. Alright, let me unfortunately delete the first one. And then we'll just go with the one that we currently have. So sorry for those who were in the other one. But it was kind of broken. So we're back. What I'm gonna do is go on my other device and share it that way. Go on my other device. Perfect. Nope, not that. Nope, not. I'm gonna hear it echo for a second. No. There we go. I am just gonna see what happens, and we'll base it off of that. We'll base it off of this, and then I'll wait to see if anybody shows up. But yeah. So to really sum it up, I made a video kind of about 4 or 5 days ago, basically talking about the PlayStation 5, and I titled it something along the lines like, "If you buy the PlayStation 5 Pro, you're a part of the problem." And here's what was so funny about that video is I made that video 1 to 2 weeks ago prior to me uploading it. I literally spent about a week or so deciding if I want to upload that video, because it was one of those topics where it was like, okay, I knew this video was going to irritate people in that market, but I'm like, do I wait? Do I post it? Do I not post it? So I posted it, and I knew it was going to get backlash. I knew going into it, it was going to get a little bit heated in the comments section below. But I first off want to say, anybody who has commented and watched the video, I absolutely appreciate the feedback, because there was some pretty good points that were made about the system. There was some pretty good points made just about why you'd want to buy one. And, then you had a couple trolls and all that. But for the most part, just so I clarify, I don't care if people decide to buy the system or not. In fact, there are still some good valid reasons why I would say pick up a PlayStation 5 Pro. But what was funny is I did not really prepare how big that video was going to be. And for me, 2,000 views on a video and getting 200 hours of watch time off of a video that I just, I don't normally get that on my channel. So I was just like, wow, okay, we're all in. We're here talking about it. So who is exactly the target audience for this system? I genuinely feel like if you're somebody who does not have a PlayStation 5 already, or you are an enthusiast who is looking to upgrade their system and you want the best of the best, this is probably going to be the system for you. Because sure, you can probably spend $2-3 grand on getting a RTX whatever graphics card, and what's going to suck is you can't guarantee that these games are actually going to work on your graphics card because of driver updates. You're going to have compatibility issues. So buying a PlayStation 5 Pro guarantees that, at least guarantees to some extent, that system will run at 4K 60 FPS. Let's see. For me, I bought the OG5, a terabyte in PS5 December 2020. It was not enough for me, even on the 5 terabyte. I have to move back and forth looking into spending an extra 200 for a 2 terabyte SSD for 4K 60. That's another thing too. I was thinking, like, I don't know how many. I mean, like, I don't think we're gonna see that big of a jump with, you know, the size of games. I think they're already pretty big. I mean, games are already pretty huge. But you do mention how we just never have enough space, so I can attest to that. I have a 2 terabyte SSD, and I only use that for my PS4 games because I can fit more on there. And even with 4K 120 and F1, never even played F1, but well, just for that, PSSR upskilling everything was just a no-brainer. Yeah, exactly. And then that is, I think, probably like the biggest improvement all of it. But I also think that if you are a casual user and you have a PlayStation 5 already, I don't necessarily know what the I don't personally see the use on why I would buy one. The other big one that really I think a lot of people are upset about, and which is, believe it or not, the main thing that triggered me to make my video, the one where everyone just basically berated me in the comments section, was that it doesn't have a disk drive. I was actually surprised because when I made that video, like, I knew there was going to be some backlash to the video. Like, I titled the video very aggressively, and I titled it very like I'm attacking the consumer, because the video was titled, "If you buy a PS5 Pro, you are part of the problem." And what happened with that video for me, though, was because I was not scripting the video and it was just a conversation about, PlayStation 5, consumerism, the fact that there was all a digital future. All of my points kind of just jumbled in one video, and I don't think I was able to make that clear. I wasn't able to make my point explicitly clear on what I was talking about. Hence why a lot of people probably just been like, "Your opinion sucks on the internet. Oh my god." So that was fun. But I agree. Yeah, no, paying $800, mind you, too, and I just remember that, too, when I bought my PlayStation 5, my OG at launch. Yeah, when you bought the bundle, it was probably aiming close to about that price anyway. Like, it was like $500, $600. And even after tax, I remember buying mine from, I think, what was it, Walmart? And it came with like the controller, it came with like the game. That still cost about like $750 after tax. So, to be fair, that is a good point. That is a good point. The PS5 was pretty pricey at launch, but I think what I find fascinating is, given the fact that we are 4 or 5 years into the PlayStation 5 life cycle, people are still playing their PS4 to this very day. Like, most releases that have come out are still supporting the PS4 to this very day. And, I'm just wondering, at what point are they going to go, "Sorry, PS4, we're going to have to just leave you in the dust." So, it's very interesting to see how the PS4, how I think even Sony has sort of moved to the same marketing strategy as Apple, because you can have a PS4, you can have a PS4 Pro, which are barely supported right now in terms of like their functionality. I mean, actually, no, let's go back. You can even still technically use the PS3 if you wanted to, but I think most people now are on PS4 at least. Yeah. If PS6 drops and they don't drop PS4, it would be damn near first to keep a 3-gen behind online, but I could see it. Yep, I could definitely see that for sure. So, what I wanted to sort of also address with this, besides, you know, the features and all that, is I wanted to sort of address the big elephant in the room, which was digital distribution and the digital eco marketplace. To just get it out of the way, we obviously know that the digital market is not going away. The digital storefronts are here to stay. The ecosystem is just going to continue going on, and it's not going to be like, you know, physical media. I don't think physical media is going to die, but what is definitely been more prevalent over the past several generations is we've seen companies sort of create obstacles per se for or physical media enthusiasts. So, for instance, the disk drive, the fact that the PlayStation 5 Pro does not have the disk drive included, and you have to spend the extra money to include the disk drive, is I just feel like is a really people aren't going to see it this way, because I think by now most people are buying their games digitally. I would be a hypocrite to say that all my games are physical, because I looked at my Switch library, I looked at my PlayStation library, and unfortunately, even though I am moving back to physical media, unfortunately, only 30%, about 30 to 35% of my entire video game library is physical. Over 70% of my actual library right now is digital, and I think at this point, most people are like, no, it's not going to phase them. It's not going to phase them. So, it's interesting because as somebody who grew up with pretty much PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64, you know, and moved up growing up on PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, I was able to sort of see and pay attention to like how the media has changed throughout the years. Final Fantasy VII. Still waiting for my Black Woo physical. Myth Woo physical. No support for digital only. They pulled games. Okay. No support, digital only. They pulled games we bought before with the no refunds. I could only buy digital when sales, so it's crazy you pay a third of the used price. Yeah, I mean those deals, those digital sales really sweeten the deal with your when you want to go up and buy a game on your PlayStation or even Steam. Like if you're on Steam right now, and speaking of Steam, there's a law that's being passed right now that is supposed to require at least for California to require all these digital fronts to make it clear that you're getting a license and you're not actually owning the product. But we just recently had a digital what was it? The PlayStation Network went down for like a day. And I had some games that I wanted to access on my PlayStation 5. And, you know, let's be real here. I had a good portion of my games downloaded that I didn't really need, you know, internet to access at that point. But the main concern was if I wanted to go and download any of the games that I had purchased because of the storage space, which is another reason that they're trying to get us, is to just charge us for more storage. Is that if I wanted to go and download a game to play and the PlayStation Store was down, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that until it came up. So it's either A, I make sure everything's already downloaded and ready to go, so if it does ever go offline, I have access to those games, or I'm just gonna have to wait. But what's cool is I have a copy of, I'm not saying that these are very good examples of copies of games because some of these are just fucking huge in gigabyte size. But like, I got what? Call of Duty Modern Warfare. If I want to just pop this in the disc, it should install. Dying Light 2 should install perfectly, I think. So, yeah, 60 gigabytes would have installed perfectly without having to go online with it. So that's cool. But I want to now. Granted, you guys won't be able to see my screen because I'm literally filming and recording this off of my iPhone. But I am going to go over some comments on my video that I had to sort of talk about some of the points, because some of the points that people made were pretty funny and some of them were actually pretty clever. But let's go to my video and see. I'm not sharing my screen or anything because I'm on my phone, but I'm going to read some of these comments. First thing first, funny thing is, when a PC gamer wants to upgrade their PC and buy RTX for 1700, it's okay. Besides that, a graphics card depends on other expensive parts, but when you want to sell your old PS5 and upgrade to a Pro, it is crazy. Good point right there. Good point right there. It is kind of crazy. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I never fully got into PC gaming and why I went back to why I only have a Steam Deck, is because I don't really like the fact that I have to worry about compatibility issues, and Windows 11 is not very good. Let's see. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. Nobody has a gun to your head. Why are people crying? Yeah, not a very important comment. You are living in the past. PC is all digital. Phone games are all digital. Movies will be streaming, and all digital games work. And they know that if they screw, nobody would buy another game. Relax. I honestly think, like, I agree to some extent, because the yes, if these if these companies do continue to screw us out of our physical media or even through our digital purchases, we as a consumer base are going to lose. We're gonna lose faith and trust in the whole system. So that is an issue for sure. Digital Foundry dropped a new info comparing the GPU push of 10% to 20% paired with new CPUs compared to his RTX, which is $600 minus all the rest. Yep. Let's see. Didn't know that buying an optional enthusiast product is being part of the problem. I am happy to be part of the problem. Exactly. I mean, the guy that comments on this, I just said, do you own a regular PS5? And he owns both the PS5 and he wants to get the PS5 Pro. And not to mention the recent 30th anniversary version of the PS5 really, really got people's attention. I honestly feel like what's interesting about that is before that had came out, before the PlayStation 30th anniversary was even announced, people were shitting on the PS5 Pro. And then the minute that got announced, everybody jumped on board. They were like, oh my god, Sony got us with colors. They got us with that 30th anniversary. Let's put our money down and get it. But not to mention, unfortunately, if you live in the US, scalpers and bots got it. Scalpers and bots took over the systems, and the only way you probably would have fortunately had got your hands on one is if you stayed up all night and all day just clicking the refresh button, or if you live in Japan where you are required to have a certain number of hours played on your PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 and you have an account with them. I feel like Sony should have did that with the US, but they didn't. With a 1200, 300 limit, it was definitely going to happen. I got I got through a queue at 10:03 and it was sold out by 10:02. God, not even a minute. Dude, I'm just curious, what kind of program are these bots using to just scoop up everything in like a millisecond? Are they just having a bunch of phones and devices open and the one guy is just creating a bunch of massive bots accounts? I can't understand the computing power with that. Like, how do you even set up something like that? Kicks to flip. Oh, 20 windows on one PC. Damn. 20 windows on one PC. That's just absolutely insane. One guy said, I'm not disappointed that the drive isn't included. What bothers me is the drive needs to be paired. It even needs to be paired if you buy the normal edition PS5 that comes with the drive. The only launch model PS5 with included disk drive doesn't need pairing, can be fully used offline. So, from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but they had created two versions of the regular PS5, and one of them had the digital drive included, but you still needed to sort of snap it on, and the other one was obviously the slim, and then you have the OG model. That is kind of lame, because I'm just thinking to myself, like why, like, was it that really that big of a deal that they couldn't just include it in there? I don't know. But, and then he says, PC is heavily in the DRM. There's still options like GOG, but at least on PC you could choose multiple stores. By far, PS5 disc contain the full build of the game. Some games, like Ubisoft games and live service, do not, and they put a warning on the front stating a one-time download. Xbox requires an Xbox account, online activation, and can only be used offline for activating the console. Not connecting to an Xbox One or Series to the internet is the only way to play the build on that disc, if it contains a complete build in the first place. The 360 was the last console to fully work offline. And this here was probably the pinnacle point, what really led in my point. Because here's what was interesting. For anybody that remembers when PlayStation 4 dropped their little trailer basically burying the Xbox brand with their disc-only thing, Microsoft turned around and went the whole digital-only, TV games, TV. We're always online. And then the guy had the nerve to say, if you want to play online, or you want to play offline, buy a 360. I forgot his name. Wasn't it like Michael Trenton or something like that? I don't even remember his name. I'm probably mixing up the names, but the guy pretty much ruined the Xbox brand. They need an excuse to offload their extra disc drive stocks. That is true. That is true. That is a fair point. Create any excuse you can. But I think what's interesting, and this isn't really inherently a bad thing. This is just more comes down to preference and lack of ownership if you choose so. But we've been probably for the last 10 to 15 years being slowly conditioned to accepting more digital distribution and streaming. For instance, when Game Pass came out, they were conditioning us to be okay with spending $1 a month to get us hooked onto using Game Pass, the convenience, and being able to do that. And then what happens is once they get you comfortable with using the services, I think PlayStation 3 did. I'm trying to remember. PlayStation Vita, I know, was free for PS Plus. For PS3, was online still free, or does that when they started charging for online? I think PlayStation 3 was free online for a bit, right? I believe it was free for a bit, and then they started charging for PlayStation Plus once they started giving away all their free games. But really, once the PlayStation 4 started coming around, and same with the Xbox, or the Xbox One, we started seeing the companies charge more money for subscription services. And for the longest time, we were stuck with, the $60 a year subscription. Now, if you look on PlayStation Plus, if you wanted to do the essential, you're paying $80 a year. And if you want the full package and you want the premium, I think it's like what, 160 PlayStation PS Plus subscription increases. I'm just curious to see what this is. 12 months. Yeah, it was roughly around 30% increase. 6 months, they're bound for another increase mid-year. Okay. 12 months. Geez, that's a lot. And here's the thing. Xbox is still technically, I think there was still a little more than PlayStation at the time. But now I think we're looking at, it was never free. PlayStation 3 was never free. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So it was around PlayStation 3 that they started charging. PS Vita, believe it or not, I think probably, I think PlayStation Vita at that point, they allowed you to play online a little bit for free, but it wasn't like something like a big deal. Because I could play games on my PS Vita if I wanted to online and not have to worry about it. So that's cool. But, yeah. The biggest thing I had with that is the price increases are just increasing over the years. And here's the thing. I don't have a problem with it in a way where, like, if people prefer digital distribution, they can totally do that. I have had a PlayStation Plus experience the PlayStation Plus experience since 2011, 2010, 2009. Now that I remember, yeah, I've been paying for PlayStation Plus for years. It actually, believe it or not, wasn't until last year that I completely unsubscribed from my PlayStation Plus. And even to this day, I still feel like I reluctantly have to sign up if I wanted to actually get the full experience to play it. Like, I know I have physical, single-player titles. I know I can go out and buy single-player titles. But I'm sitting here thinking I could pay $60 on a new release, or wait till prices go down and buy a bulk sale at GameStop or something, or I can subscribe to either PlayStation Plus Extra and get those 160 free games included. Sure, I don't own any of them, but at least I have access to more games than I can ever dream of. And that even got me to my point with collecting. At what point does online collecting become an issue? Or when does physical media? And I think a healthy balance is if a game is a physical game, like if you played the game and you're going to come back to that game, like if you're going to, this is going to sound kind of cheesy, but if you're going to cherish that relationship that you have with that IP and that game, just get the physical copy if you can. I don't, if I'm correct, did Alan Wake ever go with a physical release yet? I think I heard that they're announcing one. But Alan Wake 2 was one of those titles where I bought digitally out of convenience, but I would love to get the physical version of Alan Wake 2. The physical copy of Alan Wake 2, did it come out? I think it came out already. Download. I don't know if it came out yet. October 22nd. The physical version of Alan Wake 2 is up for pre-order, out October 22nd. Hey, hi, bye. Hello there. But, yeah, to go back to my point, I think if you really cherish the game and you have the physical means to pick it up, definitely pick up the game physical. And then for any game that you're going to play off of, one time and you aren't going to sit here and, play it constantly, then having the subscription or the rental service is definitely worth the worth the cost. Because I'm gonna be real, I'm at a point at my life right now where I don't know how much shelf space I want to put with all my physical games. Like, I love physical media. Like, I collect for the Nintendo Switch, and I do collect sometimes for the PlayStation 5 and 4. But I'm getting to a point where the convenience of digital is still a little bit better. But going back to my initial point of what I was meaning to say when I made my video a couple days ago, it was mostly talking about just how over the years we've been more conditioned to kind of just accept the whole consumerism. I feel like by buying the PlayStation 5 Pro, whether we get the PlayStation 5 Pro on a discount, whether we get a PlayStation 5 Pro by trading in our old one, I feel like I don't know what message that will send to Sony for the PlayStation 6. I don't know what that will do for the future message of people who still want a physical media, like a physical medium of playing those titles. Do I even think they're gonna? I mean, they're probably gonna do a PlayStation 6, but I don't really know if I would ever buy a PlayStation 6. And this is me. This is coming from a jaded gamer who just has a Steam Deck now for my gaming PCs, so that's fun. You gotta keep the monthly games if you download them before they take them off, so as long as you keep your subscription. Yep. Grab membership by 460 year 460 off Game Flip or G2. Okay, all right. I'll have to take a look at that. I think I do have that. I do know what G2 is. That might be something I have to take a look at. You get to keep the monthly games if you download. Yeah. I do have a bunch of downloaded games over the years, and that's the only thing that's got me enticing to resubscribe, is because those are games that I don't know if I really want to go back and buy the physical version of it. Like, it's cool to have to play them, but it's not a game that I will be like constantly going back and cherishing and be like, wow, this game's amazing. I'm gonna play this every single year. Like, there's only very few games that I would buy and I would play multiple times or go back to, or games that hold a really good resale value or collection value. Like, anything Nintendo, let's be real, like anything Nintendo, the value of Nintendo games, reluctantly why we prefer to buy them on sale. Dude, they're like the only ones that I know that hold up a super crazy value in the future, because they just don't go on sale very much. Legend of Zelda is still $60. Mario Odyssey still $60 unless you buy it secondhand. But a good point is I sold a copy of a Mario Odyssey online for $45 to somebody, and it was still a deal for him, and the value still held up. But if I tried selling like one of my PS4 games, good luck getting $15-20 out of it. Top 3 games with playability to you, not one clouding MMOs like RuneScape. Yep. Name me 3 out of interest. Top 3 games with playability. Replayability games for me. Because here's the thing. I don't want to choose the same genre for a game. Let's say any open world game like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption definitely has replayability for sure, right? That is one good example of a replayability game. It is an open world game Story-driven games, I honestly very dependent on it. For me, it really depends on the mechanics of that story player game. But the second type of great replayability game are the ones that have offline or online horde modes or extra game modes that aren't necessarily connected with the campaign. One great example is Resident Evil 4. Whether you're playing the original or the remake, that one has Mercenaries mode. You could probably kill hours playing Mercenaries mode and just kill as many zombies as you want. That's the same thing that goes with, like, World War Z with their horde mode. That goes with some of the co-op experiences. But I didn't want to conclude co-op because, if we're sticking to offline co-op, I mean, unless it's offline co-op, then online, I don't know. But anything that has, like, replayability. And then the third type of game for me would have to be roguelike games. So if it's a roguelike game that very similar to games that have existing game modes, games that definitely don't have an ending to it, or games that you'll just play and the replayability and the replay value will just be there. Survival games such as Minecraft, such as Don't Starve, what's a good one? Not The Forest. I don't know why I was going to say The Forest, but basically you get my point. Don't Starve is a good one. Terraria, Minecraft, but I mean, Minecraft has been around since what, 2009, 2010? At least that's when I noticed it. It didn't really start peaking until 2011 to the public, but yeah, still going strong, Minecraft. What else? I mean, is that considered an MMO? I mean, MMOs like RuneScape, I used to play RuneScape back when I was like 12 years old. Up until I was maybe like 18 is when I, stopped playing RuneScape. But yeah, that's basically it for those. But yeah, replayability is just anything I think that's just, it's based off of the game mechanics. Oh, yeah, ESO. I have yet to check out ESO because I want to get into it. I played Fallout 76 for a bit, and I'm just like, I like Fallout 76 in the sense that it feels like a Fallout game, and it feels more like a campaign and not like an MMO. Versus compared to ESO, where it feels more like an MMO and less like an Elder Scrolls game, in my opinion. But I do have ESO. I do want to play it and get into it. I just quite haven't found the time. World of Warcraft was another one that I used to play a lot of. 76 okay, here's the thing about 76, and here's why I have a love-hate relationship with it. And it's going to be a surprise. This is actually a story. 76, I came from, before 76 came out, I was playing games such as Rust. I was playing a lot of those survival-esque type titles that were all in early access. And even before it was announced, I was thinking along myself, I was like, bro, this would be cool to have like the game like Fallout, but be MMO. So when they dropped that, it coincidentally was at 2018, which is going to be the first time that I was going to go to E3. So me and my friend, we were hyped. We were like, we're going to go to E3. We're going to have a great time. We're going to check out all the booths. And we chucked out the boosts. The boosts were fun. ESO, they at that time they were also promoting that stupid Elder Scrolls Blades game for the phone. Never could get into that. I heard it's okay, but I went to the Bethesda booth and I'm sitting here and I see this big old line. Everyone is in line to get their little Fallout 76 merch, and they're going through this little experience. I wish I forgot the experience, but it had a little freaking cup, the little hat that you got on Reclamation Day. It was kind of silly, right? But then when I sat down at the hotel later that night to watch the whole thing for Fallout 76, I was like, okay, there's no way they could screw this up. Fast forward when the game came out and I heard about the nylon bags, I'm just like, oh my god. Do I buy the game or do I just pass on it? Because me and my friend were gonna get the game. We were like, we got all hyped for it. So I bought the game for PlayStation 4, and I just couldn't get into it. I tried to get into it. I played probably 20 hours, and the bugs, the riddled mess, it lost me, and I'm just like, bro, this I can't believe the worst purchase. But Xbox bought Bethesda. Xbox turned around and was like, well, we have a lot of updates for 76. We want to try and fix the game. And I gave it another try after the updates. Is it as good as Fallout single player? No. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Fallout 76 is like, wow, you have to play it. But compared to how it was at launch, compared to what it is now, the experience is definitely a lot better. But I think it's one of those situations that, depending on who you ask, it's a little too late. And all of the atoms and all of the microtransactions and all of the little cosmetics that you can buy just to sort of experience the true elements of what makes that game so great in that aspect of like the customization, the community that supposedly they really love the game. I still don't necessarily see it was worth the money that somebody would spend. Luckily, I sold my copy of a PS4 like years ago, but they did give it away for free on Steam or in PlayStation and all this. It was like dirt cheap, less than $5. And then I just caved it in and got it. I was like, you know what? I'm just calling it a loss. That's fine. That's fine. But no, I agree. I mean, it's not really like the best experience. ESO is definitely a lot better in that sense, and I know from what I played of ESO, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't my like full-on cup of tea, because I came from old school RuneScape as well, and old school RuneScape was like pretty much the thing that I learned that I had gambling tendencies with player killing and like going into the wilderness and losing all my stuff. That was the main reason why I was still playing RuneScape. But yeah. Let's see. PlayStation 5. I want to check something on here. I'm very curious to see how the AI upscaling is going to really work, because the fact that we now have a console that we can probably say is now officially true 4K 60 is actually a benefit. Yeah, have you tried Starfield? I have tried Stanfield. That's hella funny. I have tried a little bit of it. Starfield, I know my dad's played Starfield and he beat it and he liked it, but I played I think like 5 hours and I couldn't do it. But mind you, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy Starfield. It was on Game Pass, so There was no loss. There was no loss to me except 5 hours. But I don't necessarily think that Starfield was like. I think what really screwed Starfield up was it's gonna sound crazy. I just think the game was way too ambitious. I mean, the game Starfield is just way too ambitious. I mean, there was a lot of planets that they obviously wanted to add, but there was nothing to the planets. Seen a kid said he bought the Series X for just Stanfield and sold the next guy to PS5. Oh my god, that is hella funny. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that has happened. I wouldn't even be surprised if the opposite was true, where somebody had bought a PS5 and then found out that Starfield was only a PS5 or Xbox exclusive and bought that for Xbox. But yeah. How do you like ESO and how long have you been playing it? Because I came from many MMOs when I was young. Like I played Final Fantasy 11, I played RuneScape, I played World of Warcraft, and I'll be real, like after I played RuneScape and I got into the whole player killing, and I knew that a lot of MMOs were not that same. I don't know. It kind of spoiled me with MMOs, to be honest. Like, even in World of Warcraft, I used to always go in the PvP worlds and hide out in the contested zones and just hide as a druid. And what is it, like when you're a panther or something like that, just wait for them to come by and go. That's literally what I would do on World of Warcraft. So. Mm-hmm. ESO, cool. Now, funny thing about RuneScape, I was actually a player moderator for RuneScape back in, mind you, it's crazy to say this, I was the player moderator for RuneScape back when I was 12 years old. I wish I was making this up, but at the time when that game came out, and it was huge in 2004, I got one of their, like, invites, and I have, like, probably stories to tell on that game, for sure. But I was a player moderator from 2004 or 5-ish up until 2000, oh god, what was it? 2011 or 12? It was about 8 years, so most of my childhood actually spent being a RuneScape mod. I lost my daughter due to SIDS and fishing on ESO, hunting for alchemy ingredients are our favorite things to do. That sucks. And sorry for your loss. And yeah, I mean, I think that's the best thing about it is, like, with games like ESO and, any MMO, I feel like those are, like, probably the best experiences to play with family. Like, for me, my dad and I, granted, yeah, he still plays MMOs, but shit, I was playing with him on Final Fantasy 11 when that came out back in the PlayStation 2. So, PlayStation 2 era, bro, was one of a kind. Like, the fact that I can say I played Final Fantasy 11 was, and I don't know, I never played here's the thing, I don't play Final Fantasy 14, but Final Fantasy 11 had this nostalgic feeling that I don't think I can ever replace it. Gauntlet on PS2 was close. Yeah. The other one I used to play a lot on PlayStation 2 was... What was it? SOCOM and Siphon Filter. So I played SOCOM Omega Strain for multiplayer. If you really, really want to go back, my first technical MMO that I ever played was Fantasy Star Online back in 19 whatever the year that came out for the Dreamcast. Fantasy Star Online was probably like the first online experience that I actually played. New Fable coming is going to be nice for the PS2 gen lovers. For the PS2, yeah. Fable. I am definitely going to be interested in Fable. Do I think it's going to be as good as the old Fables? We have to wait and see, because I did play Fable 3, and while a lot of people trashed Fable 3 and they didn't like it, I had fun with it. Fable 2 and Fable 1, though, were pretty cool. So, Fable is definitely, like, really back on there. Hold on. Am I tripping? So I just see this, Oh, wow, I had no idea. Wow. So I guess Silent Hill 2 came out. Is coming out. I mean, people are already playing it. But I had no idea that it was for PSVR. Or was it? I don't know. Is it? Silent Hill 2? Some dude's playing it in VR. Really? People are playing this in VR? Really? I guess so. Oh, shit. I don't have a VR2, but man, I definitely think it would be cool to play. Knowing how nowadays is story mode won't be as good, but graphics and mechanics better. Graphics and me. I'm trying to understand that comment. Won't be as good. Yeah. And I think I see what you mean. Mechanics. That is true. I feel like nowadays, when it comes to video games, they focus so much on graphics and mechanics rather than actual story. And gameplay is kind of included with the mechanics, but everybody's overstuffed with so many mechanics to the point where it's like the stealth genre has sort of lost its charm. So the stealth genre has just moved into other games at this rate. So if you're like somebody who loves playing, stealth games, you could probably pick up any game and be like, yo, it's got stealth. But in other news, the other thing I wanted to talk about, Ubisoft. Ubisoft is probably being bought by Tencent. And I don't know how that's going to go, and I don't know how that's going to fare, because their stock has dropped a lot. And we all know Tencent is a huge they're a huge conglomerate at this point, and they own many studios. So Ubisoft is in a world of hurt. They delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows. I love Assassin's Creed, but even though the latest ones have kind of been meh, it still holds a very cool part in my gaming library. Even though I never beat Valhalla, and Valhalla had way too many things going on. Even though I never beat Odyssey. The last Assassin's Creed game that I played that I actually beat was probably Assassin's Creed 4. So that really says a lot. But I have played other Assassin's Creeds like Unity and a bit of Syndicate, and I do want to continue those at some point. But man, Ubisoft, yeah, Valhalla. Here's the thing. I liked Valhalla a little bit more than Odyssey because of just how it still felt like an Assassin's Creed game. And Odyssey is... Odyssey's great because... I remember when I got into Odyssey, and this is another reason why I just couldn't finish it, is I opened up Odyssey for the first time, and I zoomed out in the map, and I saw how big that map was. I'm just like... Oh my god, this is too big. This is way too big for me. I'm gonna be here for years. And I bought them both. Now, an Ubisoft franchise that I would love to see come back, but they're not gonna bring back, or at least not as far as I know. They're supposed to be with a remake, and that is Splinter Cell. They took all the stuff from Splinter Cell, moved it into Rainbow Six, and they've even brought back Sam Fisher in Rainbow Six: The Siege, but it isn't the same. I want a Splinter Cell game, not a Rainbow Six game. I'm sorry, not Rainbow Six Siege. They actually did put something in there with Rainbow Six Siege, but it was Ghost Recon. Ghost Recon was the one that they put Splinter Cell in, or Sam Fisher, and yeah, they just moved all those mechanics over and kept it an open world espionage. And I'm just like, I want a new Splinter Cell game. Black Flag was pretty good. I can definitely agree that Black Flag is probably, even though it's not technically an assassin game, I mean, they still had assassin stuff in there, but we all know that it was more or less like pirates and all that, but that was like one of the best ones, for sure. And then I remember Assassin's Creed 3 was okay, but yeah. One franchise from Ubisoft that I'm unfortunately just a little bit disappointed in, which I really love and adore, but I just was just like... Because, like, here's the weird thing about Ubisoft. The best way I can kind of combine the best thing I can say about Ubisoft, and I don't even really mean this technically as an insult to them, I just mean this as more of a way that, like, you know what you're getting when you buy an Ubisoft game, but they're like the fast food of gaming. So, like, if you were to go pick up a Whopper or a Big Mac from McDonald's, you know it's not going to look exactly like the picture, but you know that that sandwich may or may not taste good, depending on your taste. But that's how I can compare Ubisoft with gaming. But the one franchise that I feel like was criminally underappreciated or underutilized was Watch Dogs, because we all know what happened with Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 1 started out with a very misleading E3 trailer, and then Watch Dogs 2 sort of really... It was good, but it was still kind of just, you know, much of the same. It was just much of Watch Dogs, and it took a more goofy approach. And then you got Legion, which Watch Dogs Legion, cool concept, but the fact that the DLC for Watch Dogs Legions was actually better than the main game, in my opinion, said a lot. Like, if they brought back if they just stuck with what they did great with the first one, that's probably would have been what they would do. So, PlayStation 5 Pro, there's a couple other comments. Bro, if I was sharing my screen and I had this on my iPad or my computer, I just chose not to stream it on there because it was just too much of an issue to do that right now. One guy said, "You don't make any eloquent arguments that can't be applied to PC. These games bought in the disc in 1990 can't be played on your current PC to the point where you have to rebuy them for the digital only remastered format to make them run. You're holding up a platform that went digital first ages ago as an example of why not to go digital, given the wastage and environment." And this is actually a huge point that I forgot to mention in my video, which I was very unfortunate that I should have scripted this video just a little bit better. But I was fired up. I was like, bro, the PS5 Pro is just... I'm not buying it. But one of the reasons why I went over to console gaming from PC was because the DRM. The DRM was... just got so bad. Like, granted, yes, Steam is a form of DRM. When I got my Steam Deck, I got my Steam Deck right here. Where is it? Somewhere. But I think the main difference between playing games on a console versus PC is with PC, you sort of choose your ecosystem and your storefront that you want to support, which is going to be Steam. But you could theoretically go with something like GOG, take the game and move it to a hard drive and not have to worry about the DRM. But with console, you're sort of just kind of stuck in that ecosystem. And here's the thing. Here's the trick. I'm kind of a hypocrite for saying this, too, because it's the same thing with Apple. It's the same thing with Android. It's the same thing with any of these ecosystems. Bro, I own practically every single Apple device for the most part, so I am just as bad, but I'm sucked in the Apple ecosystem. And I think the main deal is, can you make your walled garden as amazing as possible so the consumer does not want to leave that walled garden? If that makes any sense. They're saying that the PSSR upscaling is way better than or and also per TC Digital Foundry, and they dropped some really good hands-on recent. I'm gonna have to watch these hands-on videos because even like one of the interesting things when I got my Steam Deck, and I do have a Nintendo Switch that I play, but when I got my Nintendo Switch or my Steam Deck and I started playing those, mind you, they're portable handhelds, so I'm well aware of the sacrifices that I'm making for those. I will say that I became more appreciative towards lower resolutions and lower frame rates again. This is going to sound kind of weird, but I have no issue playing a game at 30 FPS or 720p on my Steam Deck because I know the limits. But I will say that by playing with the whole AMD FSR, super resolutions, and upscaling and all that other stuff, the impression that I got just by being a Steam Deck-centric player for that didn't set me up for the greatest impressions of what true upscaling in FSR really looks like. Like, I have a TV that does 120 hertz, like for 240 hertz, and it has like that like frame generation feature that makes all your TV shows look like a soap opera. And I think what's going to be interesting is the fact that the PlayStation 5 is going to be probably the first console that's going to probably deliver on the true thing that console gamers probably wanted for a while, is, you know, high frame rates and high fidelity. That 4K 60 FPS. Because the PlayStation 5 at 4K is not even being able to hit. Sometimes it can't even hit the stable 30 on some games. And the optimizations are having issues. But now, with AI upscaling and the frame generation that you get from some of these games, where you can take that Steam Deck game, and I don't have the Steam Deck OLED, but with the Steam Deck OLED, you can bump those frames up to 90 frames, and without generation, you're only getting 30 or 40. So that is, I think, probably going to be the most exciting thing, and why I have to be very careful with my money if I decide to ever go down that route of buying a PlayStation 5 Pro. But for now, I'm pretty appreciative with the PlayStation 5. I I don't even play my PlayStation 5 as much as I used to. But times might change and I might end up just going back on my PlayStation because I don't know. I one of the weird realities that I'm starting to see myself with is whenever I go out to do something, I think about buying. I think about bringing a handheld with me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have time to play my Steam Deck. I'm gonna have time to play my Nintendo Switch. To find out that I play my Nintendo Switch and my Steam Deck at home anyway, so. And I'm still a little bit concerned with the Steam Deck's size. I know that's gonna sound kind of dumb, but compared to the Switch, I still think the Switch is the perfect size console in terms of handhelds. I ain't got the deck yet, but pushing it with the handheld emulators with internet, good content cover as well, and the Switch has all been yep. My autocorrect is effing me up. Better than yeah. Better than FSR and DSLS checkerboard upscaling. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's better. I haven't got the deck. Yeah, I do a lot of emulation on my Steam Deck, and that was actually one of the main selling points for me was the emulation. Because when I had bought the Steam Deck, you know, that goes back to a video that I had I think months ago, where one of the things that I said in my video was that I wanted to. For the longest time I've been stubborn when it comes to handheld gaming and mobile devices. And I think that's a reason why I've been so handheld centric with the tech that I want to show on my channel. Because the signs have been very telling for me. Like, I own an iPad, I own an iPad mini, I own a laptop. I don't have a desktop laptop or desktop computer. Every device that I've had for probably the last several years, minus my PlayStation 5, has all been mobile devices. Things that you can sort of take wherever you go. But I've been so stubborn about this idea of being able to play AAA titles and AAA games since 2012. Because the first, I guess you could say, mobile device that I had got that sort of did AAA gaming was a Surface Pro 1. And they even released a NVIDIA tablet that was like, oh yeah, I want to pick up this $800 tablet. But the truth is, mobile gaming at that time was just way too expensive. And it was only then you only thought of handhelds as like, you know, like, I don't want to say a lesser experience, but sort of a watered down version of whatever the main game was. But they had like an NVIDIA Shield tablet. They had the NVIDIA Cloud tablet thingy. And it wasn't until the Nintendo Switch came out that I went full throttle in a AAA gaming on the go. So, yeah, owning the Nintendo Switch has been my go-to system for most of the things until the Steam Deck came out. And it was weird because whenever a game came out for PlayStation and I had my Nintendo Switch, if I knew a Nintendo Switch version was going to get released, I would wait. I wouldn't pick it up for the PlayStation. I'd pick it up for the Switch. Just so I have that flexibility. I didn't care about the resolution or the frame rate or whatever at that point. I was like, I just want to play this thing practically everywhere I go. So that's my thing. But as I'm getting to a point now, I'm just like, I got the Steam Deck. I play PS2 games on it. And then I play AAA titles, and it's been great. What laptop do you got? So, right now, I do not have a gaming laptop. I use most of my laptop computing for work-related, like podcasting. So, I have a MacBook M3, which is just one that I recently picked up, which is a MacBook Air M3 that I use for just video editing and stuff. But I did have a gaming laptop that I gave to somebody when I got my Steam Deck, and that was a Lenovo Legion. What was it? Lenovo Legion. It was a Lenovo Legion laptop. Lenovo Legion Pro? No, laptop. It's a 15-inch Lenovo Legion 5, I think it was, is what it was called. I got it in 2019, and I gave it to a family member. But there's those moments where you give something away, and you're like, damn, why did they give it away? But it's fine. The person who I gave it to is utilizing it quite a bit, and that's what matters more. But yeah, I had a Lenovo Legion laptop that was for a while that had NVIDIA GTX. What was it? 960. I don't know. It had an NVIDIA GTX graphics card in it. It was good enough for gaming, but it wasn't like a top of the tier line like 4K RTX. But most of the time now, when I play my PC games, I've been playing them on my Steam Deck, and I mostly play it handheld. But I do occasionally dock it up to a computer. But I find out that a lot of the AAA titles for the Steam Deck, just to say it, I just don't think they look very good at upscaled resolutions, because it just can't handle it. Some games it does well upscaled, like if you're going older titles, but if you're trying to play newer AAA titles on your Steam Deck, you're looking at some pretty a pretty unpleasant time, in my opinion. I don't know. That's just my personal thing. I think it's great as a handheld. It's great as a PC. But it's one of those things that you can do. You can push it to the limits. But should you push it to the limits? Should you really try to maximize what you can on your Steam Deck? And my Steam Deck is only the 64 gigabyte one. So that's another hindrance to it. So I use a terabyte. I use like a 2 terabyte micro SD card to play most of my games on there, and it works. I mean, I only have like a couple games installed on it, and then I'll just swap them out. But I'm very picky about the stuff, because I'll be like, oh, I want to keep it. Oh, I want to sell it. Oh, maybe I should get rid of it. Oh, I should sell this. Do I really play my PS5? Do I really want to keep it? I'm very indecisive. I have no problems admitting that. I have no problem admitting that I'm a very indecisive person about my opinion on certain consoles. Because my biggest issue is every time I get any source of new information, I compare it with what I already know and the stuff that I already perceive about the product or thing, and I apply that to my new opinion or my re-informed opinion. So that's my biggest... some people think that's an advantage. Like, I'm very open to criticism and very open to perspectives, but there's a point where it becomes way too much, and you end up getting yourself into choice paralysis. You're like, it's cool, but I don't really need it, but I want it, so... And I just got kind of exhausted by that mindset, so I'm just kind of trimming things down and really just changing my approach to it. Deciding on, like, eventually my idea is to stick with one handheld and one home console. And then maybe sell the rest of my other stuff, because I don't know. I mean, I don't mind gaming on PC, but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I put so much effort into having the PlayStation 5, I could just utilize that. So that's another reason why I haven't really done like laptop reviews or anything like that, is just because I don't really have the budget for it at the moment. When my channel starts making more money, yeah, that will totally do it. Moment you do that, you'll be missing an exclusive from said consoles. Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, I hate to say it, but like, a good example of a title that I'm trying to think of a good title that I bought for PC and then I had it for console, and the console experience ended up being better. What was it? I don't know what game it was, but it's a common theme where I'll buy a game, I'll decide whether I'm going to play something for my console or buy something for my PC, right? I pick it up for PC, only find out that it has hitching issues, it's compatibility issues, I gotta lower the resolution, and all this other nonsense. And then I get it on console, and I'm thinking to myself, shit, it works perfectly on console. I don't have to fucking worry about it. So that's fun. How long have you had your Nintendo Switch, and do you have the Nintendo Switch OLED or the OG or the Lite? Because I had the OLED one time that I sold, but I'm gonna end up getting it again at some point. I have an OG Switch, but comically, this is gonna sound funny to you guys, but my Nintendo Switch OG 2017 model, OG Mario, skipped OLED, waiting on Switch 2. Yeah, Switch 2 is probably what I'll end up waiting for, if anything. I'm praying that the Nintendo Switch 2 does include an OLED screen, but something tells me Nintendo's not going to do it. But the truth about this Nintendo Switch that I'm about to show you, is kind of sad, but I'm not too concerned with it, and I'll tell you exactly what happened, but give me a second. This is why I buy all my physical titles for Nintendo Switch. So I modded my Nintendo Switch about a year or two ago. You know, I had the little jig thing, and my Nintendo Switch recently I got banned. So my OG Nintendo Switch cannot connect to the eShop anymore, and it got banned. And the reason it got banned was mainly because of running software from other consoles. So it was weird because I didn't set the whole thing up properly. I don't really care, but I put a whole bunch of PlayStation 1 titles on there. I put a bunch of Dreamcast games on there, PSP titles on there. You know the whole deal. I launched one of those games, and I guess it was just like they didn't recognize it. Like, well, this isn't a Nintendo Switch game. We're gonna ban you. So, that's what happened. I didn't set up my mod properly, and I ended up getting banned. That's essentially what happened. Because I had played a lot of, I have a lot of, like, old school. I've been doing a lot of tweaking with it. Like, I played PlayStation Phantasy Star for the Dreamcast on my Switch, and it finally caught up to me. So I just play that offline. But the thing is, I also bought a lot of Nintendo Switch games from the eShop. So what ended up happening is because it's banned and doesn't connect to the eShop anymore, there's no way for me to download my actual games that I bought. So that is why I have to consider using a different Switch for online play, which I'll admit I had no problem with it, because at the time that I did this system pretty much needs to get retired anyway. I know I can easily like replace the parts on it, but if you look at this Nintendo Switch, it's all banged up. I stuck this in my bag one day and not realizing there was a big old box cutter next to it, and it gashed the screen. Got the scratches on here on the back of this Switch. Lost its kickstand. And I watched a YouTube video thinking, oh, how do you get these scratches off? And you tried to use that scratch remover stuff, and all it did was remove the paint. So, yeah, that is the fun thing what happened with my Switch. However, I can definitely tell you, my Joy-Cons haven't had Joy-Con drift. It's been through hell. Yeah. The rails are getting ready to snap off. No, my rails are pretty fine. I had only one pair of Joy-Cons that ever had got Joy-Con drift. Never again had I ever had Joy-Con drift, which I'm surprised. Like, there's only one pair of Joy-Cons that I had Joy-Con drift on. But, the other one I have this new controller that I got from a company that I want to show you real fast. Which, not really that special. It really isn't. They sent it over to me because they want me to do a video on it, and I plan to do a video on it, but the reason I was waiting on it is just because I'd have to present my big old messed up Switch on the video. But I got this controller called the QRD Stellar T5, and it is essentially an alternative Joy-Cons that you connect to your system. It also comes with a little stand. It's got the LED lights on here. It's got rumble. It's got all the basic things you want in a controller. But what was a real trip thing about this controller, and I'm not sure if I like it yet. I don't know if I really like this kind of design on this controller, but if you hear really closely, this trigger feels exactly like you would pressing down a mouse button. There's not a lot of give to the controller. There's not like a lot of resistance that a typical trigger has. So everything is really sensitive to the touch. So you get instantaneous feedback by just slightly tapping that button. And then same with the ones on the back. And same with the ones on the front. They all feel like a mouse button. And whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing is entirely up to you. But I do think I'm like very indifferent about it. Like I kind of like that feeling and I kind of don't. But it is what it is. I love how we went from talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro to talking about Nintendo and talking about all the other gaming stuff. This stream was only supposed to be like probably like 1 hour, but I figured why not? I had people come in. So the other thing that I was gonna bring up, there was another point that I was gonna make. The only other thing I was gonna talk about with the PlayStation 5 Pro is about the just the overall consumerism part about it, and not really the consumerism about it, because that's just something on the internet and just something we've just been accustomed to for the years. But I think what I was gonna bring up when that came up, when I brought about that point in the video, is just how is it that for the longest time I feel like it was very much similar to Apple when they came up with it. Like, when Mark Cerny came and sat down and said, we have a PlayStation 5 Pro, it reminds me of all the people that spent money on a new iPhone every year, which I think's worse. Just to clarify, if you spend money on a new iPhone everywhere, that is definitely a problem. It's a problem that's benefits the consumer, or benefits the the company, but you don't need a new iPhone every year. And the thing with the PlayStation 5 is those sweet colors, that's a sweet 35 anniversary edition changed it all. And we're like, we're gonna put some colors in there. We're gonna get you guys to buy this thing. And I know people are gonna buy it anyway. I know it's gonna happen. But I can't wait. I'm very serious. I'm very curious to see when it comes out how well it's going to be received from a more general, like a general population's point of view. Is this really going to be only for an enthusiastic person who loves the best stuff? Because content creators who buy this, let's just be real here right now. Content creators that buy and review the thing are going to help the sales for the PlayStation 5 Pro. And regardless whether you trade in your old PlayStation 5 to get the new PlayStation 5 Pro, Sony or GameStop are still getting $700 worth of money from you. They might be getting it. You might be getting some back. Say, like, hypothetical, if you sold your old PlayStation 5 for, I'm just putting out a price point. I don't know how much people sell PlayStation 5s for at this point, but say, hypothetically, you sold your OG PlayStation 5 for $350, and you got the $350, and you saved up the additional money to get the Pro. You took that money and you gave it to Sony or GameStop or wherever they're selling the console. To them, that is still a $700 sale. So, I'm just very curious to see what's going to happen. They're already talking about a PlayStation 6. Apparently, rumors say PlayStation 6. So, I'm curious to see if the PlayStation 6 is actually a reality, or is it just people blowing smoke. I think people are just kind of blowing smoke for a while, and then there's maybe like some circulating rumors that might be some that have a little bit of accuracy, but until PlayStation sort of announces it, I've always been more on the edge of caution when that kind of thing happens. Xbox, I used to have an Xbox Series X or Series S, but I ended up selling it to somebody else. I think one thing I'd like to talk about before I close the stream off is talk about PlayStation Plus versus Game Pass. Which is actually a better value? Who does the service better? Game Pass or PlayStation? And my opinion might actually, I don't know, it might not shock people given my stance on everything. But my opinion as of now is I think Xbox Game Pass has a slightly better value proposition than PlayStation Plus. Hey, All Trade Films, Shallow, how you guys doing? So, PlayStation Plus was cheaper before Game Pass was. I think Game Pass is like $180 a year. It's not cheap. It's actually up there with Amazon pricing now. If you bought your stupid Amazon pricing for quote-unquote free shipping. But with Xbox Game Pass, what makes Xbox Game Pass to me a little bit more valuable than PlayStation Plus is, this is going to sound kind of interesting, but like, did you know you can earn cash back from just playing your Xbox through Bing Rewards? Like, if you're really that much of a Microsoft fan, you could turn around and you can turn around and go, use Microsoft's Bing service and just rack up a whole bunch of points by having those achievements. So Game Pass provides you like an achievement base where they actually pay you to play the games. PlayStation's kind of incorporated that in the same way, but it's just not as good as the Xbox One. But in terms of like infrastructure and in terms of like the thing that you're getting out of it, the consumer experience, I'd still have to give it towards PlayStation. So, value for the amount of money that you get, Game Pass, good. Value in terms of the stuff you get with PlayStation Plus, not so good. But feature-wise and just the overall feature sets, is PlayStation often wins with compatibility. Like, PlayStation, you can go live. I mean, you could do this now with Xbox, but PlayStation, you can go live with your console. You can edit your videos. You don't even need a freaking computer if you want to run a YouTube channel off of your PlayStation. You probably still technically would prefer to have a computer or a smartphone, but you could turn around, record your videos up to an hour long on your PlayStation, edit them with that Share Factory thing, and put out some content. You can create YouTube Shorts directly inside PlayStation. Not saying it's going to be great. Not saying that the editor is a really great editor compared to some of the other ones. I would still advise taking your video footage and dragging it in CapCut or Final Cut and edit that way. But some people like editing. Yo, Bandit's Best. How are you doing, man? Thank you. I appreciate it. Xbox is mid. Yeah, depends on the Xbox you get. If you get the Xbox Series S, maybe, I don't know. I had the Series S. I was not impressed. I was cool with it. But it's good. It's a good digital opportunity, man. I mean, you can have... I'm waiting for, like... I should have changed the title. I should have said... honestly, if I wanted more viewers in the stream, I should have went, like... PlayStation 5 Pro sucks. Cancel me, internet. No. But earlier today, Shallow, I was going over some of the comments that I was getting for my video, and let me read you guys some of them here while you're here. Some of the comments on my video. I want to go through the mean ones. Let's just go through the mean comments just for the sake of just for the comedy's sakes. Comments. I unfortunately am doing this on my phone, so I can't show you the comments. I'm just gonna be reading them. The guy goes, "People buy an iPhone. Go rant about those people." Yes, I do plan to rant about those people. I'll plan to rant about those people in a couple weeks. "You don't know what you're talking about. PC gamers get their games cracked." I don't really want to blame the consumer base. Continues to blame the consumer base. Yes. "Everyone that buys with a discount's not smart to say this. Blah, 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 blah. The whole PC gaming market is digital. This video is going in circles. Stop worrying about what the next man is buying and focusing on you. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but don't try to force your opinions on other people." This guy left a fun comment. He said, "The amount of Sony ponies in the comments is crazy. People defend anything for their beloved company does." Imagine buying a product and providing feedback so the companies can revise it to make the next product better. We don't buy it. That's what this guy wants. Bro, I absolutely love the comments that I got on this video. I really do. It's just... Because I was at work when I got all these comments and my phone was like blowing up. I mean, not really blowing up, but I was looking at them. I was just like, this is funny. But, yeah. That has been basically my entire, my stream is just kind of going over the point. I probably will make a video kind of like more structured about it, but I just wanted to talk about it on stream and get all my, my points across. But I feel like physical media is actually going to be making a comeback because I was in a stream the other day, and this is a YouTube-related news, but YouTube, and this is more like YouTube gurus talking about it, but I was in a conversation with somebody who said since the pandemic had happened, a lot of kids who were growing up Gen Alpha was actually doing analog more. They were actually reading books than being on phones. I mean, I don't know if I believe that being true, but we're going back to the old times. We're going back to reading. We're going back to listening to the iPods. Like, is it me or is there a crazy fascination with nostalgia right now? 2934. I don't know, maybe. I hope not. But at this point, I think it's pretty obvious to say that we're not in a pretty good circumstances, someone. So that is fair. My what else has been going on? Yeah, there is definitely though a concern. There's some games I've been wanting to check out. I want to play the new Silent Hill game, but I have not played Silent Hill in so long. I might need to go back and catch up. I need to play the Alan Wake DLC. The Alan Wake DLC is going to be fun. What else? What are some other games I should play that I'm missing out on? I did check out Dead Rising Remastered. Well, I mean, I played Dead Rising already, but I tried out the remastered version of Dead Rising couple weeks back, or like a week or two. Fun. I think it's a cool time. There really isn't a whole lot else I feel like I need to talk about with the PlayStation. I think I covered it. I'll just make a video about it and then take this stream and then create shorts out of it. But yeah. Lords of the Fallen. I forgot about that one. Here's the thing. I don't really need to buy games for the longest time. Because one of the things cool that Steam has right now is that you can set up a family account with Steam. And I mean, you could do this with PlayStation, you can do this with Xbox. This isn't actually anything new. But you can have a family group on Steam now that you can basically borrow and play any of your family's games. So my brother and I, we both have a large, huge Steam library. And what we did is we just took our Steam libraries and combined them together and and our libraries have just grown. So his library went from, this is going to be funny, his library went from 150 games to like 500 when he borrowed my library. And then I got additional, my Steam library account went up to like 750 games. So what's cool with that is I don't need to buy any of his Steam games. I don't have to buy any of these Steam games now. And when he's not playing them, I have access to them. And he could play any of his other games, and I could still play something else from his Steam library, and it won't be an issue. So I have over 600 games on my Steam library that I don't necessarily need to. So I don't really need to buy anything. But yeah, and that kind of just proves how much of a hypocrite I am with digital distribution. And going back to my point that I said earlier about how 70% of my games are on digital. It's free as well as Liza P. Liza P is another one I want to check out. I'm going to ask, do you have a PlayStation Portal by any chance? Dude, the reactive triggers on the PlayStation 5 and the rumble that was included in there, the haptic feedback, top tier controller. I'm very curious to know. I mean, the Portal was definitely a system that I think was like would have been great that if it was a local system as well as a cloud based device. Seems too many streaming complaints. Yeah, and you can play. You can actually sit there and play your games and stream them off of uh, your your phone or your Steam Deck. The Steam Deck's got something called Chikaki or something, Chitaki, and that lets you live stream your PlayStation 5 games to your Steam Deck. Yep. That's another thing I was gonna say is PlayStation streaming is definitely a lot better than Xbox Cloud. I can agree to that. I have tried Xbox Cloud. I just was not a huge fan of it. I mean, I've had issues with PlayStation streaming, but that was just due to my internet connection. It had nothing to do with like the actual streaming service. The first streaming service that I've ever tried was actually a service called OnLive. OnLive was a streaming service that you can turn around and play all those games, and there was a community with that, which was pretty cool. But it's a shame that actually it's actually not a shame. It's actually good we never went down the cloud streaming route as long as we did. That's what they're trying to do. Is they would prefer us to stream everything off of their servers, but I would hate to. I would hate, dude, if cloud gaming was the only way to play video games, I would quit video games. That would be my last straw with video games, is if cloud gaming was the only thing that you can do, I'd be done. I can handle digital, and I definitely love physical, but cloud gaming, I can't do that. That would be my final straw if they went all cloud. That's why I don't like it. I almost sudden notice between difference in downloading performances, but always download for the best play, and Xbox don't even get me started. Yeah, don't get me started with the Xbox one. I tried playing I tried playing Minecraft on Xbox Cloud before on my just an experiment. I had a Backbone controller, and I mean, you don't need to, but I just tried it. Bro, that didn't even run well. That was absolutely a horrible experience. I was just more of a joke because you don't need to play Minecraft over the cloud. But that was funny. I do support them in their Fire Stick multimedia aspect. Yeah. Well, cloud streaming with like movies and TV shows is an entirely different experience than cloud streaming on a video game, because the latency that you need to have a controller and a game experience is just, it's night and day. Like, I can deal with a bad quality of a movie, but if I'm playing a video game where I'm actually interacting with the buttons and I can't play that, just be done with it, dude. Probably why OnLive went out of business. OnLive was the first online cloud streaming service that I used. And what's funny about that is OnLive was actually owned by Gaikai. And I think it's called Gaikai or whatever. And they got bought out by Sony. So the PlayStation cloud streaming on the PlayStation, it's actually owned by the ones that used the cloud service back in 2011 for OnLive. And OnLive was a service that was very cool in theory. Like, I love the concept of OnLive, But the problem was that it was just all internet. But what they did to entice people with on live is it would have these $5 games that you would buy. So Splinter Cell Conviction, Assassin's Creed, Saints Row the Third, Sniper Elite, all these old games that were from the PlayStation 3 era that they got on the OnLive service. And what was sick is they even offered trials for those games. So you would play the 30-minute trial of Splinter Cell Conviction multiplayer with your friends, and what would happen is the trial would be up and you could just restart the trial and play the multiplayer over and over. But at that time, everybody who is in that community for that service can watch other people play the games. So you can watch somebody play the game live as well as, you know, stream it. So they're not only streaming the game for themselves, but they're streaming it for other people to watch them and spectate. So it's a really cool concept, and I feel like PlayStation has definitely incorporated that into their service. And we have things like Discord that lets you live stream your gameplay to friends and all that. So that service has definitely like come back, but it would be cool to, oh, even Steam does it. I think it would be cool to broadcast to just a bunch of friends on PlayStation without necessarily going live. I mean, you can, but I wish it was just utilized more often, that people would utilize that feature more. So this was back in 2011, and I think it only lasted about a year or two before it went out of business. So yeah. And then I bought the PlayStation Vita for its remote playing functionality. That was actually the first thing that really sold me on a PlayStation Vita, besides the PlayStation Vita titles, is like being able to play the PlayStation Vita and connect to your PlayStation 4 or your PlayStation 3. I mean, was kind of cool. But yeah, that was basically it. I have a PS Vita now, but I actually think my PS Vita died. Like, I think the battery's actually dead on the PS Vita. Like, entirely. It does not charge anymore. Which is sad. Which is really, really sad. Luckily, I still got my 3DS to play. Woo! Like I said, though, it is what it is. Let me check if there's anything else I need to cover. And after that, I think I'm going to call it a quits. I think I'm going to chill. And I may end up going live later for a game, but I may just chill for the night. I do have a podcast. Granted, my podcast only has 3 episodes, and it's not necessarily centered around gaming. But I do have a podcast people can check out. League of Legends. Ooh. I have not heard of that game in a long time. I didn't know people still played League of Legends. Do people still play Hearthstone? I think they do. Hearthstone was another one. League of Legends. Another game that so like another one that's interesting too, and I'm very curious to see how Apple enters the gaming market, is because Apple is doing gaming content now, and they're throwing up Assassin's Creed, what is it? Assassin's Creed Mirage? Is that what it's called? Yeah, I think that's what it's called, Assassin's Creed Mirage. And then you got the Call of Duties. I'd be curious to see how long Apple supports gamers. I definitely would not buy an Apple product for gaming, though. You could play the new Resident Evil, though, and Death Stranding on Apple. Yeah. Seen too many streaming complaints. Yep. that is right. Hopefully they turn it around. The other game I really need to get back from PlayStation, which I don't have, and here's the funny thing: I may end up caving in and buying the PlayStation Plus subscription service again at some point. Not now, but I may end up getting at least the essential one. Is I gotta get back into Demon Souls. Demon Souls. Rise of the Ronin was I checked out the Rise of the Ronin demo like a week or two back, and it was cool, but yeah. And speaking of it, enhanced version, is Demon Souls getting an enhanced version to the PS5 Pro? Maybe I'll have to be a hypocrite and actually pick one up. Let me take a look at that real quickly while I'm on. Enhanced games for PS5. PS5 Pro. Every enhanced PS5 Pro game confirmed. Ooh. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. You got me convinced, man. You got me convinced, truly. I will watch it. Abe, here are the total PS5 Pro enhanced games confirmed. And I'm sure there's going to be more. I'm sure Grand Theft Auto 6, when Grand Theft Auto 6 announces, that's going to be one. Alan Wake 2, Apex Legends, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Callisto Protocol, The Crew Motorfest, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, Demon Souls, Diablo 4, Dragon Age, The Veilguard, Dragon's Dogma, Dwarf Journey, Dynasty Warriors Origins, EA Sports College Football 25, EA Sports FC 25, I don't know what the difference is, Empire of the Ants, Enlisted, Everspace, F1 24, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, The First Descendant, Fortnite, yeah, Fortnite's getting enhanced graphics, woo! God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo, Hogwarts Legacy, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. Aren't they like charging an extra $10 for that now? Horizon Forbidden West, The Last of Us Part 1, The Last of Us Part 2. Those are both given. I figured Last of Us would make that. Last of Us, dude, looks fucking great, dude, by the way. Like, I think that's like my only game that I got installed on my PS5 right now. The Lies of P, Like a Dragon, Pirate, Yakuza in Hawaii, Madden NFL 25, Marvel Rivals, Metal Gear Delta Snake Eater, Midnight Town Stories, Adam's Diary, Monster Hunter Wilds, Mortal Kombat 1, My Little Universe, Naraka, Blade Point, No Man's Sky, Outbreak, Pro Baseball, Ratchet and Clank, Redacted, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village, Retrieval, Rise of the Ronin, Rogue Flight, Spider-Man, pretty much the Spider-Man trilogy, Spine. Wow, this list. Star Wars Outlaws. I don't care about that. That was a big colossal fail, sadly. Stellar Blade, Test Drive Unlimited, Towns of Gasaba, Unreal Kingdom, Until Dawn, Warframe, War Thunder, Wolverine, and Warships Legends. Very, very interesting. Dude, that's crazy. That's actually a huge, substantial list for anybody that just wants to collect some games and play them. So, yeah, no, that's actually... I think that alone might entice people to get the Pro then. Because if anybody who has not played those games yet, and who doesn't have a PlayStation 5 already, it should be an easy purchase then for people. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see, like, I mean, I always played on performance mode, and I always loved the fidelity of the PS5. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it time. I'm gonna decide and think about it. I don't think I'm gonna get it anytime soon at launch, but if the channel pays off in the next month or two, maybe I'll consider it. But other than that, I'm just gonna stick with what I got and enjoy my games on there. But yeah, I'm probably gonna end up ending the stream here. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I definitely appreciate the conversation. We had quite a bit of people in here for a little bit, and I'm gonna go check out that Digital Foundry video actually. So I'm very enticed to see what the difference are. Who knows? Maybe I'll get a playtest for that. I used to do playtesting back then. I can't speak much about it, but like I can't speak on the specifics that were like under NDAs, but I used to do playtesting for different game companies, and I would play games like years before they ever got like released. Who knows? Maybe I'll get a playtest for it, but I doubt it. I haven't accepted a playtest for them in a long time because of just location. But yeah, I'm going to end the stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been an hour and actually 116 minutes. Oh, wow. It's been a while. I don't know if it's an hour, 16 minutes. Yeah, I think it's been 116 minutes. Not bad. Naraka. I'll definitely check that out. Naraka. Cool. Well, thank you very much. I am tuning out, and I'll probably come back and do streams later, but it was cool talking with you. I wish the short button would just automatically create shorts, but I'm not going to do that. I'll probably create shorts later. So, peace.